From the Anatelli Center in Jersey City, New Jersey, this is St. Peter's University basketball on YouTube and the PeacocksNetwork.com. Tonight, the women from St. Peter's with a record of 3 up and 4 down. They are 1-1 here at home. Play host to the UMass Lowell Riverhawks. Their record is 2-6. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Glenn Crooks along with Chris Radicke, and St. Peter's, they've been off for a full week contemplating their most recent result, which was a tricky one. They lost to St. Francis of Brooklyn here at the Anatelli Center, 64-49.
Peacocks got off to a quick start in that ball game. Then St. Francis took over. The Peacocks tried to fight back, but the long-distance shooting from St. Francis was too much. I think going into tonight's game, the Peacocks need to get Taylor Hughes involved earlier in the game. There's a long time of that ball game where she didn't even score, make a field goal. She scored a few points at the end of the game. But if the Peacocks are going to be successful, they're going to need some point production out of their senior leader.
He was the leading scorer for St. Peter's, a little over 10 per contest. She only had 5 points in that defeat to St. Francis of Brooklyn. As for UMass Lowell, they have lost back-to-back games, most recently at Colgate, 84-64. Among their 2 wins, one of them against a Division II side, Fisher College, 102-47. And we will note throughout the broadcast, many career highs came forth in that particular game. All right, we're getting set. We're all rising now here at the Anatelli Center. And in a moment, we'll have the playing of our national anthem. And we're just about set to get underway. Again, one other aspect of UMass Lowell, they are winless on the road in 5 games this season. Time to meet the starting lineups for both sides. First for the visitors, UMass Lowell under 4th-year head coach Janari Harris. It'll be number 1, Kayla Gibbs, a 5'11 senior forward from nearby Teaneck, New Jersey. Number 4, Brianna Rudolph, a 5'7 redshirt junior guard from Lynn, Massachusetts. Number 5 is Linda Sven. She's a 5'9 freshman guard from Riga, Latvia. Number 10 is Paula Lopez, 5'4 freshman guard, another international from Lyon, Spain. And Jennifer Loro, she's a 5'8 freshman guard from Belmar, New Jersey, and St. Rose High School. For St. Peter's University, Pat Coyle in her 5th year guiding the Peacocks. It'll be number 10, Sammy Lochner, 5'7" sophomore guard from Abington, Pennsylvania. Number 15, Taylor Hughes. She's the 5'10" senior forward from Beacon, New York. Number 23, Alyssa Vellis, 5'10" senior guard, Franklin, Connecticut. Number 24, Deja Martin, the 5'10" freshman forward from Westburg, New York. And rounding out the 5 and just 8 points shy of 1,000 for her career, number 42, Sajana Bethea, 5'11" senior forward from Levittown, Pennsylvania. Officials for this evening, Brian Brunette, Natasha Cami, and Dan DiPasquale. So these games always serving as the intro to the conference play, which still for St. Peter's University is a bit down the road. They open up at Manhattan on December the 28th in league play. What are the things that St. Peter's will have to focus on today, Chris?
Well, that is a while away, but just 2 more games before they take on the Jaspers. I think the Peacocks need to sort of settle in on a rotation. Mentioned earlier, you need to get Hughes going. Alyssa Vellis has been playing some good basketball in her senior season. Sajana Bethea, another senior. Those players are going to have to provide the offensive production for St. Peter's. So I think it's a matter of getting into a flow offensively, having those players lead the team. Everyone else could then settle into their roles. You mentioned UMass Lowell losing 5 road games this season. Overall, they've lost 23 straight on the road, making the tough transition to Division I basketball. Gibbs, you mentioned from Teaneck, 960 points. She needs 40. I'm sure Peacock fans are hoping she doesn't get those 40 tonight to get to 1,000 to become the first UMass Lowell player in Division I to get to 1,000 points. But they also start 3 freshmen. So not that you always don't want to get out to a quick start, but knowing the team has lost a lot of games on the road in a row, you really want to get after them early, build up that lead, and sort of take their spirit away.
Linda Sven, one of those freshmen, she made her first career start at Colgate, so she'll get the nod again this evening in favor of freshman Katie McKee. The Peacocks in their home white with navy blue trim, and UMass Lowell with their blue and white and red trim, and the Peacocks win the opening tap, and they move towards the hole, and the ball knocked out. It'll be St. Peter's basketball.
You look at Bethea and Gibbs, similar body types. That should be an interesting matchup throughout the night. On the first possession, Bethea, using her quickness, nearly got all the way to the basket.
Bethea, head of the circle, swings left for Taylor Hughes. Now it's Sammy Lochner between the legs, into the paint, puts it up with the left hand, off the glass, and good.
And that's one of the things last game we talked about. Lochner can score the basketball. You like seeing her aggressive off the bat.
Had 8 points against St. Francis, the defeat a week ago, averaging just under 5. Skip pass over the zone that St. Peter's will open up with here. Ball down low to Gibbs. Her shot, no follow, around the rim and through.
That looked a little like the men's game last night with Josh Ibarra scoring in the paint. You see Gibbs missed the first time, didn't get off the floor very much, but she got the offensive rebound, was able to put it in.
The St. Peter's men with a 2-point victory last night over Houston Baptist, and Taylor Hughes with a 3-point field goal from deep in the left corner.
I'm sure the Peacock coaching staff is happy to see that. Hughes in rhythm and taking shot early in the game. She needs to be assertive.
3 of 7 from behind the arc this year now. Taylor Hughes with that make. Here's the drive and the hold by Lochner. A little push, so first foul of the game.
Coaches harp on that all the time. Play defense with your feet. Lochner got the hand out. Called for the hand check.
Paula Lopez drew the foul with that drive angling left. Near sideline to our right. Linda Sven puts the ball into Rudolph. Here's Sven again. And the quick pass inside for Kayla Gibbs, and too much on it with the left hand. And on the weak side, Alyssa Vellis comes out with it. She'll move quickly into the front court, but UMass Lowell back effectively on defense. Vellis to Lochner, head of the circle, drives around the pick, but Kayla Gibbs stepped in to stop Lochner's progress. Now it's Hughes, whips a pass, foul line. Here's the drive, and it's a 2-point bucket for Deja Martin from in close.
Good hard drive from the foul line, attacking, didn't hesitate. Shot clock starting to wind down. Good play by the freshman.
2 minutes gone by. St. Peter's 7, UMass Lowell 2. And that one is deflected. Good hands by Sajana Bethea. Lochner picks it up. She's held on her way out of the backcourt.
So a good start for the Peacocks. They had a good start a week ago against St. Francis. Now they have to keep up the momentum.
First foul of the game for the Riverhawks. I don't know if I've ever seen a Riverhawk. Well, we've got him right here. A number of them. Hughes misses the turnaround, but Bethea flying into the lane. Awkward shot on the follow, misses, puts it back up, drawing the foul. Sajana Bethea. She'll be in the line to shoot two.
Was fouled on the first shot, kept with it. She'll get a couple of free throws.
So Bethea for the line this year, 11 of 19. That's just a shade under 58%, 7:38 to play. Bethea will try to see these free throws in and increase the St. Peter's lead. And for Jana Bethea, we'll keep close track of it here tonight. With that point, she's now 7 shy of 1,000. I would imagine that will maybe take a bit of a load off her shoulders once she gets to that mark. With the right hand, flips it up. It's good. 9-2, St. Peter's. And a lot of pressure to the backcourt. Led at the point by Deja Martin. That took a few seconds off as UMass Lowell lobs into the St. Peter's end. On the dribble is Saoirse Power Cassidy, who has entered the game. Here's an elbow jumper for the right. And that goes off the mark by Bree Rudolph. And one and done. St. Peter's with the rebound. Bethea to Hughes. Hughes steps back, shoots, misses. But she's fouled in the act by Rudolph.
Tough shot by Hughes. We wanted her to be aggressive, but it wasn't really open there.
Hey, listen, you called for it.
Well, I mean, usually if you execute the step back properly, you're creating space. Hughes didn't have the space, shot it anyway. Luckily got fouled.
Hughes is 62% for the free throw line. She swishes the first to go along with her three-point field goal. Unofficially, to make certain I have this right for her. It's 10-2 St. Peter's. Hughes makes the second. Now she leads all scorers with 5. 7:11 to play, and St. Peter's has opened up the game with an 11-2 margin and another turnover by UMass Lowell, their second of the game. And that forces a timeout from the Riverhawks sideline by fourth-year coach Janari Harris. So we'll take a break. St. Peter's has opened up a 9-point lead just 2 minutes and 50 seconds into this one, Chris.
A 9-0 run for the Peacocks. St. Peter's 3 of 6 from the field. UMass Lowell just 1 of 4. UMass Lowell with a couple of turnovers. Peacocks have yet to commit one.
And after the last UMass Lowell turnover, St. Peter's with the basketball, but an offensive foul called.
So you knew it was going to happen. I mentioned no turnovers to start for the Peacocks. They commit one there.
Bethea on the charge. Looping pass in for Loro. She'll take the shot. She was open, perhaps a little out of her range. We'll see as the game progresses. Velas down the right wing as she moves it across the timeline, dribbling with the left hand to the top of the circle, finds Taylor Hughes. Hughes back to Velas, cross court right. Velas on the dribble, picks it up, hounded there by Sven. Now it's Hughes. The lob for Sajana Bethea. She had the open three. Bethea was double teamed and couldn't hang on.
Just not enough air under that pass.
6:25 to play. First quarter. St. Peter's 11, UMass Lowell 2. Rudolph, wide left. Here's the long jumper. Heel of the rim, and Bethea grabs it off the miss by Power Cassidy. And right in front of us, Jennifer Morrow hits the deck. And now Velas with the long three. Rimmed it. Rebound batted around, and hitting the deck was Bree Rudolph, and she's called for traveling.
Rudolph and Cassidy were fighting for the basketball, and Peacocks get a break. See Bellis taking her first shot. It was right on line, just a bit short.
Bellis this year, she is 8th in the MAC in three-point field goal percentage and 2nd in the number of three-point field goals made. So it's thus far been a good senior season for Alyssa Bellis, who had difficulty finding her shot in the early years. Bethea, she'll take a jumper, and that was a bit forced perhaps over the taller Oda Shackelford. And that glanced off the front of the rim, so the Riverhawks have it back the other way. They're attacking the basket to our right. Sven dribbling around a screen from Shackelford, who gets it back, now flips behind. And Power Cassidy trying to maneuver around Lochter, cannot. Now she'll launch a three. Right side of the rim, no. And the rebound tapped by Bellis. And that's going to be a rebound foul on St. Peter's.
A hold on Hughes. Lowell 0 of 3 from three-point range to start. They're 33% for the season. Peacocks a little under 33% from distance.
First foul, Taylor Hughes, third team foul. Sven, now another three by Power Cassidy. This time it misses to the left of the rim. And now another foul. This time it'll go the other way off the rebound on UMass Lowell.
Midway point of the first quarter, the Riverhawks with just 2 points. They come in averaging 72 points per game.
Kayla Gibbs, our leading scorer, has the two. Good position underneath by Martin. Got deep. And she was fouled on her way up. A little jump hook, and she'll shoot 2 for the free throw line to our left.
Lackadaisical start for Lowell. Here's a chance for the Peacocks really to extend the lead. Good job by Martin establishing paint position.
Martin makes the free throw. She's now 7 of 12 on the season. Averages 4 points.
Number 1 to Avion Magazine.
Martin does most of her damage, at least thus far in her career, on the defensive side and on the boards. She makes the second. St. Peter's now with the double-digit lead, 13-2. It's been a struggle for UMass Lowell. 4:45 to play, and they've got a bucket. That's it. Power Cassidy in a reserve role. Whips a pass in low. Bellis does a good job of bottling up Sven, and now a 3-second violation on UMass Lowell. So it's been turnover after turnover. That's number 4 for the Riverhawks.
They average just under 19 turnovers per game.
Out of bounds.
Peacocks forcing 15 turnovers per game, but that didn't really have much to do with St. Peter's. UMass Lowell a bit careless to start this ball game.
And Kayla Gibbs will re-enter the game in favor of Oda Shackelford. Gibbs, she scores over 15 points a game on the season. Senior from Teaneck, so a bit of a homecoming for her. And a nice screen set by Sajana Bethea. Entering the game, Davion Magazine, and she falls short with the jump shot. She also fell on the floor, but now she comes up with a steal as Power Cassidy tried to enter, and well timed by Magazine. In the lane, it's Taylor Hughes, kicks back out up top to Magazine. Now it's Bellis. Bellis using the off arm against Gibbs. Now it's Bethea to Hughes. Hughes in the center of the foul circle. Off the dribble, Bellis will shoot the three, and that normally does not work for her. When she is set, and you've made that point many times in her career, she is much more successful.
But that time, even though it was off the dribble, her shoulders were square, had a good look at it. But yeah, she's definitely better spotting up.
All right, it's Power Cassidy. She's a freshman from Dublin, Ireland. Her shot, no. Follow, yes, by Kayla Gibbs.
Second basket for the Riverhawks. Second offensive rebound that led to a basket. That breaks a drought. Riverhawks went over 5 minutes without scoring. Peacocks an 11-0 run just snapped.
Launching the three there off the bench is Brianna Tarabaccia, but an offensive rebound. St. Peter's gets a fresh 30 with Magazine setting the table, and she'll hit a straightaway three. No hesitation, as she had a lot of room.
Coach Coyle likes that. Magazine, a very good offensive player. She's going to get better as the season goes on. You like to see that aggressiveness. Her second shot already, but she really follows through and shoots with conviction.
And not bashful from long distance. That's her 26th take and her 8th make. And a spinning move in the lane. It's good. And one coming up for Kayla Gibbs.
So the senior taking advantage of the freshman there. Some contact across the arm. Gibbs was strong enough to put it up and in, and she has all 6 points for the Riverhawks.
We encountered a game last night on the men's side. St. Peter's defeating Houston Baptist by 2, but a big guy named Josh Ibarra caused St. Peter's similar fits. They could never quite pull away, in large part due to Ibarra. 16-6 here.
Ibarra got some help throughout the course of the night. As of now, Gibbs getting none from her teammates.
And Zoe Perro, her side jump, went off the back iron, popped into the air. Here comes UMass Lowell, left to right. Here's the baseline drive. Linda Sven, and a collision as Magazine showed up just a little late and is called for the block. And a brave drive by Sven.
And Sven just happy to get up there. She took one where she nearly got in the face. That was nearly a face plant. Good body control that she kept her head up, but that one's going to hurt a bit tomorrow.
She puts up her first. It's good. She's 5 of 7 on the season from the free throw line.
You're so vulnerable when you go up in the air like that. Any contact to the lower body, people get in fights on the schoolyard all the time for getting submarined or undercut, and let's just be happy she's up and shooting a couple of free throws.
It seems like any sport, the undercut is one of the no-nos, unwritten rule, and it's normally a violation, a foul, whatever the sport. Penalty.
Right. Well, I don't think the officials could miss that one.
2:20 to play, 16-8. St. Peter's by 8. And Lochner, her feet got tangled a bit as she was undecided what to do.
Peacocks leading by 8. They should have expected that pressure off the made free throw. Looked like Lochner wasn't ready.
Katie McKee into the game, another freshman from Austin, Texas, for UMass Lowell. And now Tarabaccia is going to be called on a hold as hesitation moved to the basket by Loro.
Well, that's going to be a challenge for Tarabaccia, moving the feet, getting in good position, beating the offensive player to the spot. Reaction there was to get the hands out. We saw Lochner do that before. Wasn't much of a foul, touch foul, but she was about to give up the baseline. So, the official really had no choice there because she was out in the open on the wing.
First foul on Tarabaccia, and you can see free throws taken by Jennifer Loro. St. Peter's over the limit. Loro making both, and now we've got a 16-10 game. St. Peter's was up at one point, 13-2. Here's Magazine. Left-hand dribble. Around a screen from Perro. Here's the pick and roll. Work to perfection by St. Peter's.
Good start by Magazine. She knocks down the three, gets the assist there. And Perro certainly can provide some offensive punch off the bench. And Meyer, who has seen her playing time cut, being over-aggressive there. And that'll send Lowell right back to the line.
Well, Meyer a bit out of control on the close down. Stumbled right into the path of Sven, Linda Sven. Now 3 of 3 from the line as she makes the first. She'll get another. Sven has 3 points. Kayla Gibbs leads the way from the UMass Lowell with 6. Taylor Hughes, the top spot for St. Peter's with 5. Deja Martin has 4. Second free throw missed. Here's Tarabaccia, left corner. Holds the ball high overhead, finds Perro. Hand off to Tarabaccia, about 25 feet out, left flank. Now ahead of the circle, and between the circles is Magazine to Meyer. Lobs in for Perro, and it's a double team, and astonished is Jennifer Loro because she was whistled.
Meyer put Pero in a bad spot. Lucky to get the foul call there. Pero cutting between defenders. The last time she flashed to the lane, she got a good pass from Magazine and an easy position to score. That time she was sandwiched.
So Pero, St. John Vianney, fouled by St. Rose of Belmar. Loro committing her second personal. And UMass Lowell over the limit. That's putting Pero at the line, where she makes her first. 19-11, 20-11, as Zoe Pero, the sophomore from Secaucus. St. Peter's a 9-point lead, so a bit of a bulge once again. 1:20 to play here in the first quarter as Gibbs gets in deep. And that's Pero coming down to help out Meyer. She's called for the hold, so it'll be Gibbs with some free throws.
I like the idea, sloughing down and double teaming Gibbs. Riverhawks have been able to get it going from three-point range, but you have to avoid fouling, especially when you know you're going to send the other team to the line.
Gibbs, the southpaw, as you can see, and a good free throw shooter, 71%. Double figures in 7 of the 8 games played thus far by UMass Lowell. Makes the second. She's closing in on that double figure mark now. She's got 8. 8 of the 13 as Lochter struggling a bit as she's doubled to the backcourt. Finally gets it across to Pero. Back to Lochter. St. Peter's with half of that 30-second shot clock expired. Carabaccio falls short on the 3. Rebound, though, Magazine. She'll shoot it. She'll hit her second tray of the game.
And you talk about confidence. That's a good time to shoot threes off the scramble. Still a lot of time on the shot clock. Magazine was able to step straight in and knock it down.
A balanced scoring effort from St. Peter's, now led by Magazine with 6. Meyer doing well against Gibbs. However, she'll be called for her second personal. No, correction. It's a tie-up, and the possession arrow points in favor of the Riverhawks. 33.4 seconds left. First quarter. Riverhawks trail the Peacocks by 10. Here's Hendrick. On the right side, Power Cassidy. Back to Hendrick to Power Cassidy. Launches a 3 over Magazine. Meyer with the good position. Pero there as well to Magazine with 16 seconds left. Shot clock is off. Let's see if Magazine holds for one. Lochter will control. She had a notion, but now backs up on the dribble. Now she accelerates to the hole. Puts it up. No. Thought she was hit. Pat Coyle did as well. Back the other way with 2 seconds. Long 3 at the buzzer. That will give UMass Lowell a bit of incentive going into the second quarter. It counts. And the Peacocks will have a 7-point lead after the first 10 minutes. The play is under review, but certainly that shot was released before the buzzer.
And that makes UMass Lowell 1 of 6 from three-point range, so a good time to hit the first one of the game. Brings them to within 7. Not bad considering the Peacocks had a chance to really open this game up after St. Peter's had an 11-0 run. Lowell was able to get to the foul line, cause a couple of turnovers. They scored 6 straight. So it's been a decent game so far. Peacocks with a 7-point lead. I'm sure they'd like for it to be bigger at this point, but give UMass Lowell credit playing a bunch of freshmen. They didn't get rattled when they fell down early, 13-2.
One of their freshmen, one of their internationals from Dublin, Saoirse Power Cassidy. She's the one that connected on the 3. So we're done with one quarter. We'll take a break for a moment. It's St. Peter's 23 and UMass Lowell 16 at the end of one quarter of play here on the PeacocksNetwork.com. The Hospital for Special Surgery is the official hospital of St. Peter's University Athletics. They treat the All-Stars at St. Peter's University, so let them treat the All-Stars in your family. For more information, visit them on the web at hss.edu. The Hospital for Special Surgery, proud supporter of St. Peter's University basketball. The St. Peter's University women have the ball to start the second quarter. Taylor Hughes is tripped up just a couple of seconds in by Linda Sven.
We have 14 fouls total in the first quarter, 8 on St. Peter's, but 8 different players with 1 foul, so that's good news for the Peacocks. Laura with 2 fouls for the Riverhawks.
Sven also picking up her second as Taylor Hughes was tripped up. That's Hughes now, top of the key, left for Lochner. Launches a 3, rimmed it, and the long rebound goes towards the UMass Lowell bench. It's out of play, and UMass Lowell will have it off the Lochner miss.
Peacocks now 3 of 8 from three-point range. Both teams shooting the ball well from the foul line. St. Peter's 8 of 8. The Riverhawks 7 of 9.
Lochner now 0 of 2 from behind the arc. Here's Lopez, and traveling violation on Megan Hendrick. Lopez found her at the head of the circle, and Hendricks moved her feet for what is now the 6th turnover for UMass Lowell.
Peacocks have scored just 2 points off the previous 5. We'll see if they can get a basket here.
Lochner around the screen from Bethea, who rolls to the basket. Bethea, remember, she's in search of the chance to join the 1,000-point club here at St. Peter's, but has only 2 thus far. She is 6 points away.
We talked in the first quarter about Lochner being aggressive, looking for a shot. She missed that 3. It wasn't a bad shot. That time she came off the screen, had a foul line jumper, didn't look for it. She ends up traveling. Now she's on the bench.
Here's the drive by Hendrick. Kicks out for Paulo Lopez. UMass Lowell, ball movement a little bit better for them as Rudolph, she rimmed it. Little jumper for the right elbow, and Gibbs trying to fight for the offensive rebound, but it goes out of play underneath the St. Peter's basket. Here's Magazine. Davion Magazine is a freshman from Patterson out of Queen of Peace. Bethea, the senior, she whips a pass to Hughes along the left wing. Now Velas comes quickly, flashing towards the head of the circle, flips right for Magazine. Magazine, I was going to say, tries to lob to Hughes, but that went in more like on a line drive, and Gibbs with the easy interception. And as Lopez makes her way to the basket, she's fouled, and she'll have 2 shots.
Lowell really getting back into the ball game by getting to the foul line after St. Peter's up 13-2. Good job there. Driving to the basket by Lopez, and you know, you give teams some confidence. They get back in the game. Neither team scoring in the second quarter until Lopez hits that free throw. Now the Riverhawks 8 of 10 from the stripe.
And the first point of the night for Paulo Lopez. She's the second leading scorer for UMass Lowell. And for the free throw line, she's really struggled, 44%. And she kind of pushes it up with the right and left hand together and sinks the second, so perhaps she's been working on it.
Well, that's how you get sideways rotation, by getting too much guide hand in your shot.
Bethea drives hard. Left hand, no. Here's the rebound battle, and the follow by Bethea. Right is there. Deja Martin, rather. And Martin on the floor. It's a tie-up called by the officials. So St. Peter's, since they open up the quarter with the basketball, it'll be UMass Lowell in possession. 2 minutes has elapsed here in the second quarter. St. Peter's got off to the quick start where they led by as many as 11. The lead now is 5. Gibbs double team, puts the ball back outside, and the long jumper straight away by Henrik is no good, but she's fouled on the follow through, and that's going to be a 3-shot foul.
Foul came after the shot. It goes on Anna McGuire, the freshman from Ireland, and that's not a great way to earn yourself playing time. So Coach Coyle not happy with the point guard play of Magazine or Lochner. McGuire getting a crack at it.
McGuire has played 14 minutes all season in 2 previous games. So you're right, Chris. It's some respects a statement at that point.
Well, McGuire, first game came at Seton Hall, and she was rattled early in that ball game, and she hasn't seen much playing time since. She got back in the second half, but that was likely because the Pirates had such a big lead.
And free throws, first made, second missed by Henrik. And that long rebound is last touched by St. Peter's, so UMass Lowell will keep the basketball. So St. Peter's a bit of a carbon copy from a week ago when they had the advantage early against St. Francis of Brooklyn. And the New York side chipped away at it as UMass Lowell has. That miss off the drive by Lopez is rebounded by Gibbs. And that's going to go against Gibbs.
Offensive foul on UMass Lowell.
Perhaps not. Is it? Yes.
Well, sometimes when you have that strength underneath, you get called for fouls, maybe when you shouldn't, because you just overpower the opponent. And Gibbs looked real surprised by that call.
McGuire. And that one missed. Rimmed it, but Taylor Hughes manages to get it back for St. Peter's. McGuire will take it a little closer to see if she can have success. Misses that one, but there's Hughes again. Now it's Bethea. The follow by Pero is good. St. Peter's with 4 shots in that sequence.
And at some point you're going to make one. That one from close range for Pero, getting inside position. But give McGuire some credit. Hasn't played a ton of minutes like we talked about. She wasn't afraid at least to put up the first one. She looked to hesitate a little on the second one. That time not happy with her was Coach Coyle. McGuire didn't see the ball, had a chance for a steal.
Spinning move inside, no good. Gibbs, but she easily grabs the follow and puts it back in.
She's able to just put it up there and get it back. That's the 3rd time she scored on an offensive rebound.
And she's the first player tonight to reach double figures. Bethea too hard on the contested layup. She was in tight, but she hit the backboard too hard. And back at the other end, banking it home from the left side is Brianna Rudolph. And Pat Coyle has called for a timeout. 2-point game now.
You can see Rudolph has some athletic ability, a bit off balance on her shots. Feet are too close together, but that time able to get into the lane and muscle it up over McGuire while falling away from the basket. And give Lowell credit. They battled back into this ball game. Remember, the St. Peter's Peacocks led here 13-2. So Lowell fighting back. They have outscored St. Peter's 21-12 since then.
Brianna Rudolph, who just converted, that's her first make in 4 tries. She's contributed 3 rebounds, but Kayla Gibbs just before has reached the 10-point mark. On the St. Peter's side, it's Davion Magazine. She's got 6 along with Zoe Pero. Both players off the bench to contribute for St. Peter's. 6:22 remaining in the second quarter, and St. Peter's 25. And UMass Lowell 23, PeacocksNetwork.com. Well, St. Peter's led after the first quarter 23-16. It's now 25-23 Peacocks over UMass Lowell, who have chipped away since St. Peter's had built the large advantage early. Full court pressure by the Riverhawks. Pero, along with Anna McGuire, getting more minutes off the bench. She's on the ball now between the circles. Has played just 2 previous games and 14 minutes, but is going to be called for traveling right there.
McGuire nearly set up an open shot, but just couldn't put on the brakes quick enough, dragged the pivot foot. That's another Peacock turnover. St. Peter's has turned over 3 times here in the second quarter. Peacocks 1 of 8 from the field in the second.
Lopez lobs for Shackelford. Strong to the basket. We're all tied up at 25.
Coach Coyle has gone to her bench looking for answers, and it hasn't worked out so far. You see Ashley Howell into the game. She gave up that easy basket, and we are knotted at 25. Our last tie was at 2-2.
Ashley Howell now, she's posting up, looking to see if someone might lob to her. Instead, the field goal miss. Rebound to UMass Lowell. 5:30 to play. Here's Lopez again, and bumped by McGuire, driving right edge of the lane.
And we talked about Hughes before the game, trying to take control. She started the game off aggressively. But these are the type of situations where you need your seniors to step up.
Checking into the Peacocks, number 10, Sammy Luckner.
Sammy Lochner back into the game for St. Peter's. UMass Lowell with the basketball, and a chance to take their first lead of the game as Lopez works around the screen from Shackelford. Now on the ball, and the left-handed shot, kind of a wild effort. And St. Peter's with the easy rebound, and they'll move back in the opposite direction, led by Lochner. St. Peter's moving towards the basket. That's to our left. Pero with the close-range shot. It went off the rim and backboard. No, and here's an end-to-end layup for Brianna Rudolph, and that's the second time we've seen her do that.
And the last couple of times that she's taken a shot, she's made them. We saw the athletic ability on the defensive side. If you're St. Peter's, you just have to stop the basketball and force that kick out.
Here's the in-and-out jumper. Pero, though, in good position. She follows, she makes it, and she'll get another.
On her last layup attempt, she wanted to foul. Her original shot there caught underneath the basket. Did a good job spinning away from the rim, creating an angle to put it up and in.
Well done by Pero, who now has 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 2 for the line. So she'll be looking to complete a 3-point play. Ashley Howell with a brief shift. Back into the game, Deja Martin for St. Peter's. And a high-arcing free throw is good by Pero, who leads St. Peter's with 9. Hughes, Martin in the backcourt, hounding Paulo Lopez, the Spaniard point guard, puts it up and in. As she was in there with the larger individuals, but managed to get it up and in with the left hand.
Peacocks need to wall up on the defensive end. Lowell hasn't shown that they can hit an outside shot, but now the Riverhawks have been able to get to the basket.
And take the lead. Their first of the game, 29-28. Kayla Hughes manages to recover. She bobbled for a moment. Here's Martin with a crossover. Right-handed shot off the glass. It's good.
Martin can really face up to the basket and use her quickness and put the ball home. She's got to do a bit more of that. Maybe they need to start looking for her a bit more.
30-29, St. Peter's back on top. Posting up left block is Shackelford. Kicks out, wants to get it back again from Lopez. Does so. Her shot is missed. Martin there altering that shot, defending well. Off the floor, Pero picks up the rebound, takes it into the front court. Now looking for the point guard. Lochner was nowhere to be found, and now St. Peter's turns the ball over. It's Rudolph to Lopez. Lopez angles left with a dribble. She's going to take a three. It misses everything, and despite the effort of Megan Hendrick to try to save it along the baseline, it goes out. So St. Peter's will have it.
Lopez looked back to the bench and basically said, that one's on me. You can see she's a bit winded out there. She's set back beyond 3, and you called it before when you talked about her guide hand. Hard to shoot like that. The ball goes in different directions when you have too much guide hand in the shot. And she emailed that one.
Here's Lochner. She maneuvers her way past Katie McKee. Right edge of the lane, bounces for Pero, and she takes the 17-footer straight away. It's good.
Pero can hit that shot when she has time to set her feet, but I still would have liked for Lochner to take that pull-up jumper. She's got that in her game. We saw it last year.
11 points now for Pero. Indeed, Kayla Gibbs against Deja Martin. And Martin showing her defensive prowess. Does well to guard Gibbs. St. Peter's has it back the other way with Lochter. Lochter head of the circle, backs up on the dribble. Goes between her legs twice, now angles left. Pero, right at the top of the key. Goes right to Tarabaccia. Hughes comes out to get a nice greeted pass from Tarabaccia, and there's Lochter cutting into the lane and laying it in.
Scoring on the run. We saw before that Lopez looked a bit winded, and Lochner made her pay the price there.
Tarabaccia with the assist. Here's the drive by Loro. Deflected out. Lochner pushing it out across the baseline where UMass Lowell will inbound to the right of their own basket. They have 16 seconds to shoot. A minute 48 to play here in the second quarter, first half. It's Hendrick bouncing left for Power Cassidy. She finds McKee. Leaves it for Hendrick. Right elbow jumper. Missed the rim, hit the underneath of the backcourt on the weak side. Here's a fast break with Pero. And she hits it a bit too hard. McKee recovered and put a little pressure on Pero. Her layup went too hard off the glass. UMass Lowell has it back at the other end. Nice little left-handed entry into Gibbs, who kicks back out. Here's the baseline jumper by Hendrick. It's good.
That is a tough shot hanging from the baseline.
With a hand in her face, it's 34-31. A minute 5 to play, second quarter. Lochter around the screen from Martin. Drive by Pero. Kicks out Tarabaccio. Pero in the right block. Up and under, and it fell short. She tried to scoop it off the glass, and she got past McKee.
Well, that move has worked for Pero, where she goes up and under. Good footwork in the post. The offender didn't buy it that time, so now you're forced to take a difficult shot from a tough angle. Wasn't able to bank it home.
And back at the other end, Pero took a risk and reached in and apparently got a hold of the ball. It was that yielded a tie-up. All right, 36 seconds on the game clock, 24 on the shot clock for Lochter. She's at the edge of the lane, left outside Pero. Tarabaccio 25 feet away on the right wing to Lochter. Swings for Taylor Hughes. 10 seconds to shoot. Lochter, here's the pull-up. It is good. Got the rim, but it dropped through.
A long two, just had her foot on the line.
36-31. Shot clock off. 8 seconds to play. Power Cassidy in control. Down the lane. And she goes down as well. And it's going to be St. Peter's foul. This one's going to go against Lochter. No, Zoe Pero, correction. Her second personal. And St. Peter's with 14 fouls. 2.5 seconds left. Ashley Howe will come in now, the 6'2 sophomore center from the Bronx, to add a little bit more strength and height so that UMass Lowell will be forced to put it outside.
Well, they also want to keep Pero from getting her third.
Lochter blocks the shot. Taken from the corner by Power Cassidy.
So you had the foul to give, which the Peacocks didn't have at the end of the first quarter. Both teams 8 fouls apiece in the first quarter, I believe. And in that situation, you want to give it, but Pero has provided an offensive spark off the bench, 11 points. You really wish that she didn't give up that foul to end the half.
So that'll do it over the first 20 minutes of play. The college basketball season is here. Celebrate your Peacocks pride at the Yanatelli Center with the 2017-18 St. Peter's Sideline Apparel Collection by Adidas. That's available online at adidas.com. So we are at halftime. St. Peter's 36, UMass Lowell 31. I'm Glenn Crooks along with Chris Radicke. We'll return after the halftime break here on the PeacocksNetwork.com. Welcome back to the Onatelli Center in Jersey City. Glenn Crooks here along with Chris Radicke. St. Peter's University against UMass Lowell. The score has been tied 3 times. The lead has changed 4 times. And right now, St. Peter's with a 5-point advantage at intermission, Chris.
Peacocks picked it up a bit in the latter part of the second quarter. Ended up shooting 6 of 18 from the field. So for the game, just 12 of 35, 34%. The Peacocks have shot it well from the foul line, 9 of 9. St. Peter's had that 13-2 lead after going on an 11-0 run, but Lowell got back into the ball game by getting to the foul line. They're 10 of 14 from the stripe and forcing some Peacock turnovers. So St. Peter's going to have to pick it up on the offensive end. They're going to obviously have to pay attention to Gibbs. Gibbs with 10 points and 7 rebounds already. St. Peter's getting on the glass, though. 10 offensive rebounds to 5 for Lowell.
And second chance points for St. Peter's at 15 compared to 6 for UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell under the direction of Janari Harris. Great story, her, a walk-on at the University of Kentucky, and then eventually earned a scholarship under Bernadette Maddox. You're going to enjoy this, Chris. That's the former Bernie Locke, as I knew her, at the University of Georgia. I used to do the games for WUOG in Andy Lander's first year. Bernie Locke was a transfer from a Tennessee junior college. She eventually became the first female athlete named both All-American and Academic All-American at the University of Georgia, and she made the largest news because she was a woman who became an assistant under Rick Pitino with the men's team at the University of Kentucky.
And I'm speechless.
Yeah,
where else do you get information like that? That's why you have all those YouTube followers.
Hey, Bernie Locke means a lot to me, man. All right, here's the second half underway with UMass Lowell. They'll try to start it quickly, and they do on the swished three-pointer for the right side by Paulo Lopez.
Just the second 3 of the night for Lowell. They're 2 of 9 from distance. St. Peter's 3 of 9.
So Lopez now with 7. Here's Hughes. Martin set a brief screen for Hughes. Lochter has it, whips it past to Velas, and closing her down quickly is Loro. Deep right corner now, Hughes. She's on the drive. Bethea was there to set the screen, and Bethea crashes to try to tap away the offensive glass, but Hughes missed it, and UMass Lowell has it with Rudolph. Bree Rudolph, who had a couple of very athletic fast break points, and now she does it the other way from distance.
2 threes to start the second half for Lowell, so a great beginning for them.
And their second lead of the game, 37-36. And now a steal by Kayla Gibbs. Bethea managed to get a piece of it. Gibbs on the floor. And a timeout called as, I don't know, did that come from the bench or from Gibbs? Nonetheless.
It came from the bench. A good hustle play by Gibbs. Not a good start for the Peacocks. And looks like the Riverhawks are inspired by your story halftime, have really come out firing here in the second half.
That was for you, Chris. I thought you.
I'm just saying. The thing is, I think it was a bit rude of them to start the second half when you're in the middle of the story, or you need to come back on earlier at halftime. So,
well, I had this ready. I was wondering where to insert it.
I didn't have time to comment on that, but it's.
Well, Rick Pitino's name is mentioned, and it's
right.
that adds a little difficulty to the subject.
That's an amazing story, and again, that's one that just comes from experience and how you're able to connect that all together. And there's everyone in basketball, coaching trees, about that. It seems if you really dig, there's a connection here and there, and it's amazing where they sort of twist and turn.
Well, it was really interesting for me to be there when Andy Landers started. Look what he did with his career as a coach at the University of Georgia. He was only 24 years old when he took over the program. All right, we're handed the stats after the quick timeout that was called by UMass Lowell after Kayla Gibbs forced a turnover. Gibbs, the leading scorer for the Riverhawks with 10. Brianna Rudolph, who made a 3 moments ago, has 7, along with Paolo Lopez, who opened the half with a 3-point field goal. She's 1 of 2 from distance. So UMass Lowell will have the basketball and the 1-point lead. Just a minute 15 got by here in the third quarter. Lopez whips a pass low, right block, Gibbs. Gibbs working hard against Bethea, and she went from right to left and banked it home with the left hand.
And that's a great job off the timeout. You get the ball to your best player, she scores, works out perfectly for the Riverhawks. They've outscored St. Peter's 8-0 to start the third quarter.
So Hughes with a nice dish for Deja Martin, and first point of the half for St. Peter's. Back the other way quickly is Bree Rudolph, looking to take it strong to the hole. Now a little dump off for Gibbs, and a nice shot by Gibbs with a crowd.
Well, no one got off their feet, really. The ball got to the hands of Gibbs, and when she's underneath, she's going to score.
13 now for Gibbs, make that 10. And Alyssa Vellis, she finally knocks down a 3-point field goal, her first of the night, her first points of the night for St. Peter's, to tie it at 41.
Peacocks really needed that basket.
Vellis, she was the only player in double figures in the loss against St. Francis Brooklyn. She had 11. Now it's just free. There's the offensive rebound by Lopez off the miss by Rudolph. And now a long 3 taken left corner. It is good by Jennifer Lauro.
And the Riverhawks on fire from 3-point range to start the second half. They shoot at 33% for the season.
A tray of trays here in the third quarter. 3-point lead for the Riverhawks. Hughes to Lochter, top of the key. She'll drive on Lopez. Ball batted away and taken away by Bree Rudolph. Cross court she goes for Lopez. Lopez holds up the fist with her left hand to set up this offensive play in the half court for UMass Lowell. She's whirling against Lochter, was trying to figure out something. Kicks out for Rudolph. The pull-up short off the front of the rim, and the ball skips to the left, and that's where Sammy Lochter is able to pick it up for St. Peter's. They're down by 3 with 6:20 to play, third quarter. Lochter, left-hand dribble towards the baseline, out to Vellis, who is feeling it for certain. Back-to-back threes.
And again, a spot-up 3, shoulders square, feet were good, knocks it home.
Vellis, second in the MAC, averaging 2.4 3-point field goals per contest. And once again, we're tied up. That pass in by Lopez deflected slightly. It's Rudolph. Cross court, here's the drive by Lauro, the kick out to Lopez. Left wing goes baseline underneath the basket, and foul called on the floor against St. Peter's. Kayla Hughes, her second personal foul. Check that, Sajana Bethea. Also her second. First foul of the second half. Martin and Bethea take a seat. And Zoe Perro, who leads St. Peter's, did a great job off the bench. She has 11. Here's Gibbs whirling her way, and Sam Meyer, who has come into the game for Bethea, defended the first shot well, but then fouled as this 5'11 Gibbs from Teaneck, New Jersey, was able to follow her miss.
Gibbs using her size there. We saw her score off 3 offensive rebounds in the first half. She's not even jumping, though. Someone's got to get in there and go after that basketball for St. Peter's.
Gibbs unable to convert the follow, but is at the charity stripe where she makes her first. Foul line left as we view it from the press area, court side at the Anatelli Center. It's UMass Lowell as Gibbs misses the second. It's 45-44, though, in search of their first road win in 6 games, and the Riverhawks with the 1-point lead. Here's Hughes trying to be demonstrative on the dribble and get closer to the basket. Cannot. And the ball loose, picked up by Perro in front of her own bench to Hughes. Cross court for Vellis. Vellis is certainly looking for some freedom, and she feels like maybe she could hit another dagger on that three, but this time it's Hughes, and she's fouled on the fadeaway along the left baseline.
Late whistle. Hughes hesitated just a bit, allowed the defender to come over.
UMass Lowell foul on number 11, Jennifer Lowell.
And it was
That's her third personal. Team
late
first.
enough that Hughes won't be shooting.
Riverhawks, number 21,
Well,
Una
third
Shepard.
foul on Loro.
34, Katie McGee.
First team foul. Kayla Gibbs getting a rest. And left elbow, the jump shot by Meyer, short. But Velis knifes her way into the lane, picks it up off the floor on one hop. Here's Lochter around a screen from Meyer. Long three. Taylor Hughes around the rim and out. And Velis,
Out of bounds.
an effort to save it along the baseline, cannot. The UMass basketball. And timeout on the floor. With 4:49 to play, it's UMass Lowell 45 and St. Peter's University 44 on YouTube and the PeacocksNetwork.com. St. Peter's University averaging a shade under 60 points per contest. Right now they've got 44 and they sit a single point behind the visiting UMass Lowell Riverhawks, who come in at 2-6. St. Peter's 3 up and 4 down.
And we talked about in the beginning of the game, Lowell has lost 23 straight on the road.
And here's a drive and a successful shot by Bree Rudolph. Short jumper left side.
Rudolph very athletic, even with the big knee brace on the right leg.
She has 9 points now. Velis trying to convert her third three-pointer, missed it. And Zoe Perro, though, battling along with Paolo Lopez underneath the basket. And Lopez, the last to touch it. St. Peter's will have it left in their own basket.
That was a good look for Velis. Had some space, just rattled out.
Perro, left elbow. She'll drive on McKee, draws the foul. So Zoe Perro, 11 points, 9 rebounds off the bench for St. Peter's. Lochter lobs for Sam Meyer. Meyer is looking to enter without bouncing the basketball, and that's why it was deflected away by Shackelford, picked up by Hughes. Lochter whips a pass to Velis. She's at the edge of the lane along the left side to Hughes. Hughes drives right, baseline, whirls back to Perro. 7 seconds to shoot. Lochter trying to work her way alone to get the shot. Sam Meyer, that looked good from the outset.
That was a big shot by Meyer. Her minutes are down. She's taken just 9 shots this season, going 1 of 2 tonight, but that was a big one with the shot clock winding down.
Sam Meyer, points this season have been few for her. She's now 3 of 8 from the field after that make. Back at the other end, UMass Lowell. Ball batted away by Perro, and Perro is held as she was moving towards the UMass Lowell bench, and she got obviously poked in the mouth or something, has a little bit of an arm to the mouth, and she's still struggling a bit, just kind of to reset the teeth. But the importance, I'm sure, for her is her team has the basketball again and can take the lead. They're down by one, 47-46. However, that baseline feed from Velas to Meyer, errant. It's a turnover, St. Peter's. And here's Rudolph again leading the break. She'll pull up for Lopez. Lopez, nice crossover. But Lochner is there along with Meyer. And this time, Perro with the good hands knocks it away. Velas leaves a 3-on-2 break. Lochner will pull up. A high arcing shot. High off the rim, top of the backboard. That's called out of play.
And Coach Coyle just staring at Lochner. We've been here encouraging Lochner to shoot, but early in the clock, your foot's on the line, not the best shot in the world. The previous possession, Velas drove the baseline. She did that in the first half, got caught underneath the basket, got 2 turnovers that way, so she needs to stay out from underneath the basket.
Zoe Perro now hounding McKee, who crosses the timeline and hands to Lopez. She holds up her index finger of the left hand to set up this play in the half court. It didn't work out very well as the ball's loose on the floor. The Avion magazine has poked it away and finally comes out with a basketball. Boy, that was a scramble to Perro. The reverse layup is blocked, but also a foul. Taylor Hughes going up strong. Rudolph questioning the call, but Taylor Hughes will have 2.
Peacocks desperately trying to get some points in transition. Perro a bit unselfish there. Spacing wasn't great, and we've seen that throughout the third quarter, that last time down the floor for Lowell. 1- and 2-foot passes usually aren't going to cut it when you're running the half-court offense. That time, Perro could have taken it to the basket, instead found Hughes, who ends up at the foul line.
The Peacocks' leading scorer since the first. She now has 6 points. 1 of 6 from the field. That was a 3-point field goal in the first half. Taylor Hughes in her senior year, 62% free throw shooter, up with the right hand, misses the second. Mid-lane rebound for UMass Lowell and Megan Hendrick. Is Rudolph on the drive, kicks out. Here's the 3-ball. Hendrick straight away, no. Offensive rebound and the follow, yes, by Gibbs, and 1. She's fouled.
Gibbs continues to work the glass. The Peacocks just can't keep her off the board, and she's relentless. Again, uses her body to get in a good position. Doesn't jump very much, but very effective. And we talked about Gibbs before the game, closing in on 1,000 points, looking to become the first Riverhawk in their Division I history to score 1,000.
Her free throw rolls off the rim, but she's had a night already. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Meyer, left elbow jumper. It's good. So Samantha Meyer, back-to-back buckets for her.
Meyer really showing some confidence.
49-49. Big bucket for St. Peter's. 1:45 to play in the third quarter. Angling right, and Power Cassidy now dribbles the ball left. Bounces in for Gibbs. She can't find it. Turnover for UMass Lowell.
And Meyer goes out of the game. Was wondering a bit where Bethea was. Bethea with a very quiet night. She has a body that she can put on Gibbs. You have to give Meyer credit. Peacocks with a deeper roster than it had in the past. That creates competition. Meyer hasn't got a ton of minutes. Comes in and makes an impact, hitting her last 2 shots.
And Bethea hasn't had a ton of points tonight. And what Perro has. Zoe Perro.
It was a nice pass by Hughes along the baseline, but give Perro credit for lifting away from the basket, creating some space for that angle, and then she's able to go to the rim instead of getting caught underneath.
5 of 10 from the field, 13 points to lead St. Peter's, who now are up by a bucket. 51-49, tie up underneath between Magazine and Rudolph, and St. Peter's will keep possession. The arrow pointing in the favor of the Peacocks.
It seems like since Lowell hit those threes, they've been just driving into contested areas. They really haven't taken care of the basketball.
Here's Bethea on a strong drive against Gibbs, and with a left hand, she puts it in off the glass.
And that's what Bethea started the game trying to do. Her first field goal, 1 of 8. She can catch it in the high post and then use her quickness and get to the rim. St. Peter's would like to see more of that.
Bethea with 4 points on the night, 4 points shy of 1,000 for her career, as Rudolph is held on her way to the basket by Magazine or Perro. It's going to be on Zoe Perro, and it's her third personal. And I think Pat Coyle probably reluctant to remove Perro from the game.
Remember, she took the foul with just a couple seconds left in the second quarter. Just 37 seconds left here in the third, so a couple of big fouls for Perro when she's been a big part of the offense.
The inbounds play, Rudolph got a layup attempt, followed by Gibbs. No, here's St. Peter's attacking the basket 2 outright with 21 seconds on the shot clock, 22 on the game clock. Magazine, stutter step move, left elbow, finds Hughes, drives baseline. Bethea from inside the foul circle. She missed that badly to the left. Rebound batted around, taken along the right sideline by Rudolph. 4 seconds left. Rudolph, head of the circle. She's going to take it to the hole strong. And Taylor Hughes did well to defend Hughes, who is Rudolph, who was trying to take it strong to the basket.
On the offensive end, it was a wide open look for Bethea, but a bit early. Gave Lowell a chance, but they fumbled it away before the quarter ended. Shot came after the horn.
That's hard not to take that one, though, but they completely uncontested.
It's wide open, and I'm not one of the, and I thought about it after the men's game last night. I think that's sometimes overblown, getting the last shot of the quarter. If it's a close game, you can understand there are certain times where momentum can shift. But if it's a tight game, if you're open, why not just take the open shot? Because so many times you see teams hold for that last shot. There was about a 1 second difference between shot game clock there. They wait for that last shot because they're trying to time it so much. They end up getting a bad shot and forcing up a shot. So I really don't have a problem with it, but you did give Lowell a bunch of time there.
Well, we're 3 quarters complete for the Adatelli Center. And St. Peter's with a 4-point advantage. It's the Peacocks 53 and the Riverhawks of UMass Lowell 49. You're listening to St. Peter's University basketball on YouTube and the PeacocksNetwork.com. UMass Lowell, fourth quarter underway. They've got the basketball right in front of us, putting it into play. Off a screen, here's Hendrick with the drive. That one was set up in the between quarter huddle. Shot missed, though. St. Peter's quickly back to the other end, left to right. Second half, Bethea up and under, puts it in.
That hurts for Lowell. A great look off the timeout between quarters, just missed it. Coach Harris threw her head back, couldn't believe it, and then down the other end. Bethea gets her second bucket.
Well, St. Peter's, it hasn't gone well in many portions of tonight's game, but they now lead by 6. And Sajana Bethea is 2 points shy of 1,000 for her career after that basket.
That's her fourth personal, team's first.
And a foul back at the other end, called against Linda Sven. And here's Martin with a great feed from Lochner. As one of the UMass Lowell players slipped in the lane, and Martin was by herself. All of a sudden, St. Peter's by 8. A minute gone by, fourth quarter. Circling left, Power Cassidy. Head of the circle, it's Henrik. Henrik will take the 3 straight away. Rattles the rim and goes through.
3-point basket scored by number 3.
So
57 to 52.
Henrik missed the runner to start the quarter. That was a big basket. The Peacocks had the momentum. Henrik really extending the follow through, knocks it down from straight away.
Taylor Hughes driving left. She's in the middle of the foul circle. Finds Bethea Bethea perhaps forcing that one, about a 17-footer from the left side, and it was a little heavy.
You think she knows she's close to 1,000 right now, and that would have done it?
I think so.
Second personal, teams first.
Well, that's an interesting debate. You know, some players keep track in their mind while they're playing how many points they have. There are other people that after the game will look and they really don't know. But obviously,
I don't know. That had that 1,000-point
obviously,
look to it, didn't it?
You're the type of player that knows exactly how many points. You're counting your assists when you're playing pickup.
I'm just reading her body language, man.
All right.
UMass Lowell, they've got the basketball right of their own basket. Lopez triggers in for Laura. Laura with her 3 fouls, and good defending by Taylor Hughes, who deflects it away. UMass will have 25 seconds to shoot. 8:20 remaining in this game. St. Peter's by 5. Here's Lopez trying to work her way past Lochter. Instead lobs to Gibbs, left block, and it's deflected away by Bethea from behind. And Sajana Bethea is feeling it here in the fourth quarter.
Oh, Gibbs was holding it in the post. Think she was waiting for the double team to come as she was holding the ball. Bethea just tipped it away from behind, so the Peacocks forced a turnover.
For UMass Lowell, that's turnover number 14. Hughes to Lochter, whips a pass in for Bethea, fouled from behind by Gibbs.
Already we have 5 total fouls in the fourth quarter, 3 on the Riverhawks, 2 on the Peacocks, so foul shooting certainly could become a factor. St. Peter's 10 of 11 from the stripe. UMass Lowell 11 of 17. They've tailed off a bit.
And St. Peter's 11 points off those 14 UMass Lowell turnovers. 7:45 to play. Magazine now. Chest pass laterally across the court to Lochter. Here's Hughes. Pull up. Baseline left. No. It was a good shot.
Yeah.
Just didn't fall for Hughes.
Shot it confidently, dribbled in, mid-range jumper. We know she can hit that shot.
Lopez with the momentum. You could see she was making her way to the basket with aggression and a burst. Draws the foul on Davion Magazine. Her third personal foul, and it's the third team foul for St. Peter's with 7:30 left.
Also checking in for UMass Lowell, number 21, Uda Shackelford.
Alyssa Velas back into the game for Lochter. Bree Rudolph, she has not been bashful with the 3, and here we go. Knocks down another. And UMass Lowell pulls to within 2. Magazine slows up on the dribble now, backs up behind the 3-point arc, finds Hughes to the left, back to Magazine, and she answers with a 3.
Really have to like the freshman's aggressiveness. Her shot looks good from 3-point range. She has had an impact tonight, and she hasn't played a ton of minutes.
She is 3 from 3 from behind the arc. Check that. That was her first of the evening, but she has 9 points. Mid-range jumper, a little off balance from Rudolph, and St. Peter's back the other way. Turns it over. Magazine attempting to lead Martin into the basket. 6:37 to play. St. Peter's by 5. 60-55. Glenn Crooks, Chris Radicke from the Yanatelli Center in Jersey City. St. Peter's trying to get back to 500. They won 3 of their first 5. Best start in the history of Pac-Foil. And what a nice move by Oda Shackelford down low. Reverse, and then with the right hand puts it in off the glass.
So every time it looks like the Peacocks are going to pull away here in the fourth quarter, Lowell has an answer.
Zoe Perro, who has arguably been St. Peter's best player on the night, getting set to check back in. 10 seconds to shoot. Martin looking to drive, does it with the right hand, and the ball pops up into the air. 3 seconds left on the shot clock, and Martin is called for steps.
A few games ago we saw that, talked about the self-pass, how they took that out. But Martin was bumped, and I guess they're not going to give it to you when the ball goes diagonally away from the basket, so she caught her own miss, and that's a self-pass, and that's a travel.
All right, here's Lopez, freshman from Leon, Spain. Lopez drives baseline, goes underneath the basket, and walked with the basketball, and she gives a bit of an astonished look to Natasha Kami. One of our three officials, Brian Brunette, Dan DePasquale, the other two. Done a good job tonight. They've been very active. They've had to call a lot of fouls. Zoe Perro, she's got 13 to lead St. Peter's. Here's Velas, who has hit a pair of threes tonight. Martin, and the shot clock once again winding down. 8 seconds for St. Peter's, and they're struggling a little bit in the half court.
And that's why Coach Coyle called the timeout. Peacocks will still have 2 timeouts remaining, as will the Riverhawks. So I think the Peacocks thought they might have a bigger lead at this point in the ball game. UMass Lowell has lost all 5 road games this season, 23 in a row. And young team, 3 freshmen in the starting lineups. The Peacocks had a chance to put them away. That 11-0 run in the first quarter. They've extended it at other times, but UMass Lowell just won't go away. They've used the 3-ball here in the second half to hang in there with St. Peter's. This is going to be a close one down the stretch.
St. Peter's University, they'll stay in the Mass mode, the UMass mode, but they'll be at the University of Massachusetts. And that'll be on Sunday afternoon. And then we'll host Yale 2 days later back at the Yanatelli Center here. That's December the 12th. At FAU on December the 21st. And open up their MAC schedule on December the 28th. A couple of days past Christmas. And meanwhile, UMass Lowell, you wonder, Chris talked about they haven't won on the road. They beat Columbia at home 77-70. And a Division II side, Fisher College, 102-47, where a lot of career marks were set on the night. Tonight, UMass Lowell led by Kayla Gibbs, 17 points. Well, she averages 15 and a half and about 11 rebounds. Well, she's at 17, 11, and 4 assists. And just 2 fouls, so she's safe in that area, too. 5:18 to play. St. Peter's with the basketball and a 3-point lead. Along the far sideline, Perro. Back to Hughes. And Hughes tripped inadvertently and had to whisk the ball away, risking a traveling violation. Back at the other end, it's Lopez. And her layup attempt just rolls off the rim. Magazine. And Lopez meeting Magazine right at the midcourt line, knocking it away.
I think we're going to have a hectic finish. Both teams in desperation mode. Peacocks got the play they wanted, but it was mistimed off the timeout. They're looking for Hughes cutting back doors. She'll go out of the game.
Lochter back in the contest for Hughes. That's Lochter on the ball. Bounces to Perro. Took her eye off of it for a moment and juggled it, but regained control. Velas off the move at the foul line. Now to Magazine. Magazine around the screen from Martin. Outside to Perro. Cross court to Velas. Drives baseline, finds Perro. Right in the middle of the lane. She puts up a shot and it rolls off. Quickly back the other way, Lopez. Crossover left against Lochter. Now it's at the foul line. Oda Shackelford. And boy, Shackelford, her last 2 shots have gone in. She's taking control.
And that one was on the run. A tough shot off the glass.
To pull the Riverhawks to within 1. 4:13 to play. Perro, nice entrance into Martin, but she misses the layup. And off the bounce, it's Lopez. She leads Loro, and Loro walks with the basketball.
I'm surprised that Loro's surprised. She ran with the ball and then looked at the official and then to the bench.
Well, when she looked to the bench, no one gave her support on her question, so I think that's what solved it.
Moving a bit too fast when she caught the ball, wanting to make something happen.
Here's Sajana Bethea, 2 points shy of 1,000 for her career. Velas And straight away, picks up the dribble between the circles, looking, finds Pero, left wing, back to Velas. Long three. It fell a little short. There's Bethea with the follow. No! Pero was trying, and from behind, it's a rebound foul as McKee had position.
So the fourth team foul on the Peacocks and the fourth on Pero. We'll see if Coach Coyle will leave her in the game.
It appears that Pat Coyle, in her 5th year at St. Peter's, will leave Pero in.
And that was certainly a foul that was unnecessary.
Rudolph
wisely drives right at Pero.
And again, and whirls. Pero puts her hand in there, got a piece of it. Risky on Pero's part, does well. And here's Magazine leading the break for St. Peter's. Lochter lobs for Bethea. Bethea puts it up. No! And Sajana Bethea denied twice from close range for points number 90, 99, and 1,000. If I could spit that out.
And Bethea now 2 of 13 from the field.
Lopez, she's just outside the three-point arc on the left side. She finds Hendrick off the dribble. Stops, pops, and hits.
Henrik has made some impressive shots. She's one of the few players out there getting lift on that pull-up jumper.
Sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia, averaging 5.3. She's got 6 on the night, and she's given UMass Lowell the 1-point lead. What can Magazine do? Heel of the rim, high rebound, and it's taken away by Gibbs. She was inside of Bethea. Lopez, kick out. Can she do it again, Hendrick? No. Back iron, long rebound, though, to Rudolph. Head of the circle, she waits for Lopez to come get the basketball, and she does.
Dribble penetration, the kick out to an open shooter. Long shots lead to long rebounds. Lowell with a second crack at it.
Gibbs, unorthodox on that occasion, as she is defended well by Bethea. Pero brings it out of the backcourt. Here's Velas, whirling move, right edge of the lane. She ran right into Gibbs, unaware. Gibbs with the steal.
Not a smart decision by Velas, maybe a little bit out of control. Came right by us. She was steaming up the floor, and I don't think she had an idea where she was really driving to. Tried to spin out of it and lost it.
UMass Lowell, they've got the basketball. They've got the 1-point lead. Looking for their first road win. 3 Rudolph, whirling in the lane, puts it up over Pero, and it's in!
There once again, the athleticism of Rudolph spinning in the lane, leaping over Pero, and swishing it through.
14 points for Rudolph, 9.5. That was her average coming in. Lochter, and it's a block on Lopez as Lochter change of pace, and Lopez couldn't quite get the position.
That one could have gone either way. That's a big call in this game.
Second foul on Paolo Lopez.
So both teams with 4 team fouls, 83 seconds to play. So we'll be shooting some free throws down the stretch.
Pero with the drive, too hard. Off the glass, ball poked away by Hendrick, ahead to Lopez. Lopez will cut to her left, and she may have traveled, but no call. Loops it back to the outside, Hendrick, who hands for Rudolph. She holds 3 fingers up from the pinky on over with the left hand to set this one up. It's Lopez. They're using clock, obviously. 9 on the shot clock. Lopez working against Lochter. Lopez trying to do it on her own. Poked away by Bethea. Who was the last to touch it? Must have gone off the shin or leg of Paolo Lopez.
Too much dribbling by Lopez. Wanted to get into the post to Gibbs. Pero was draped all over her. I'm sure they'd love to get it in there to Gibbs, especially Pero having 4 fouls. Couldn't do so. The turnover. And now the Peacocks will have the basketball down by 3. You don't have to take a 3 here, obviously, with 50 seconds to go.
All right, 49.9 or 50 seconds remaining in this game. Should be an interesting final few moments here at the Onatelli Center. St. Peter's up trailing 63-60, and based on how things have gone recently, what would you call out of this huddle? And you said you don't have to go for 3, but you do have a Hughes and a Velas who have hit 3 balls tonight.
Well, I think you're going to look to get the ball in the hands of Hughes, let her attack. Still a ton of time remaining. Peacocks could go for a 2 here, and now Lowell will pick up full court, applying some pressure. And Pero, who will throw it in, calling for some help. Buffet will set a screen for Lochner.
And Lochner will bring it up for St. Peter's, ahead of the timeline now. Angles left to Velis. Closing Velis down effectively, Henrik, to prevent any sort of chance for a three-point field goal. And Pat Coyle calls for time. And St. Peter's, when they emerge from this huddle, will have 16 seconds to shoot.
Things weren't going well. Hughes tried to get the ball on the near side. Once he started to run away from the ball, Coach Coyle called the timeout. And with 16 seconds left, that's still enough time to get what you want. Sometimes you see when things aren't going well, coaches forced to call that timeout with 8 or 7 seconds left on the clock, and invariably you end up with a rush shot. So you would expect one of the seniors to get the ball here. I think the first option is to let Hughes get it. Then, of course, you got Bethea looking for that milestone, and Velis, the other senior out on the floor, is certainly capable of tying it with a 3. But the Peacocks are going to have to get going here, because, again, if you don't make the shot, there's about a 19-second difference between shot and game clock. You're going to have to go for a quick steal and foul.
63-60, St. Peter's down by 3. Each team with one timeout remaining. Velis will take the 3. No. Pero with the offensive rebound. Lochner had a notion. Now to Pero, right in front of her own bench. 24 seconds left in the game. St. Peter's down by 3. Pat Coyle will utilize her final timeout.
Velis got the 3, went for the tie on the near side. Coach Coyle, one timeout remaining. Even though shot clock should be off, that's not really a big factor here, because you're not going to obviously wait for the last shot, but we'll see what the Peacocks can come up with. There's still a chance to try and get to the ball. The player like Hughes getting to the basket, the possibility of an N1. You can't take forever, but then you're going to get in a situation where you're going to foul. The tough situation is now that if they do make a free throw, you can't call the timeout and advance the ball.
Right.
So it would have obviously been a best-case scenario if the Peacocks could have just gotten into the offense and either way held on to that timeout.
Both teams with 4 fouls. We look ahead to the final 21.9 over 22 seconds. And indeed, Chris, at your behest, the shot clock has been turned off.
Well,
once again, the power of YouTube.
I guess maybe that's what it was. I mean, the math isn't that difficult.
All right. It's Taylor Hughes, far sideline. Gets it into Lochner. Lochner looking low. Finds Velis. Velis off the dribble. Takes the long 3. It's an air ball to Hughes. Back out to Velis. 11 seconds for St. Peter's to try to tie this. Her cross-court pass is intercepted. Lochner commits the foul. The basket is good. And count it. And that'll do it for this contest, most likely.
The continuation, and you can argue she makes a free throw, makes it a 2-possession game, St. Peter's with no timeouts, but usually you don't see that where college basketball, you get that continuation. Looked like she was clearly fouled on the floor. But
Lochner grabbed her early.
Just the Peacocks out of sync on those last couple of offensive possessions.
Free throw is good by Paolo Lopez, who averages 11.5. She now has 12, and Lochner dribbles it into the UMass Lowell, and her shot is blocked strongly by Kayla Gibbs. And the buzzer sounds, and that'll do it here for St. Peter's. Back-to-back home losses, and this is an especially disappointing one. Not only did they get off to the good start, but despite some sluggish play in between, they got the lead back.
The game was there to be had, and the offense couldn't get anything done at the end of the ball game. And disappointing is the right word, because I was watching the crowd file out behind us, and the crowd was decent. The crowd was into the game, and just Peacocks, there's no other way to say it, but they fizzled out at the end of the game. They couldn't get a shot off, even on that last possession. Originally, it looked like Hughes was supposed to get the ball on the right wing, or maybe that was just a decoy. Bellis unsure of herself. Think about it, Coach Coyle had to call a couple of timeouts because they couldn't get the offense going in the last minute or so, and you don't have a senior point guard out on the floor, maybe to get things set up, but it was just a bad finish.
And St. Peter's difficulty containing the big kid, the 5'11", Kayla Gibbs, who had a bit of a cheering section for her today. She's from Teaneck, and you can hear behind us the cheers for Kayla Gibbs. She finished with 17 points, 14 rebounds, plus 4 assists to lead the way for UMass Lowell. Zoe Parro, she was instrumental at times for St. Peter's. Her season high of 14 points, she didn't match that. She had 13 points, 12 rebounds, and had a time there in the first half off the bench and the second where she was contributing mightily, but not enough for St. Peter's tonight. Antonio Smith, assistant coach. How are you?
How you doing? I'm good.
So what's your read on the final moments of the game when you were trying to set something up?
Well, I just think that, late in the game where, we had to, execute before the final moments. I think we missed a couple layups that, that could have put us in a better position, that got us to that point. But, I think it's just, executing and, being poised and, it shouldn't have got there, but, we got to work on some things. So, that's.
So down the stretch, you scored just 7 points in the fourth quarter. Seemed like the offense really couldn't get into a flow.
Yeah, well, I think we were just rushing a little bit too much, trying to get it all back in one possession. But, we're young, and we're just working on, staying more disciplined in that sense. But I think that was it, yeah. We were just kind of like a little bit anxious.
What is the feeling in terms of the second half of play? I mean, this is the second straight game too, where you've gotten off to a really solid start, but things have dwindled a bit along the way. This game was different than St. Francis Brooklyn, though. You got the lead back.
Right. Well, I think in the past, our slow starts have been, one of the things that killed us early, and we never could, get back from that. But now it's just like, staying strong and, keeping that lead. And, now we got that to work, just putting different parts of the game together.
How do you judge the start up to this point? So you're 8 games in, the record's 3-5, but if you look closely at what you need to identify in terms of making this better as you lead in the conference play, what would your focus be?
Just getting in the gym and working on executing our plays all the way through and working on high pressure moments like this, the things that we're comfortable in these moments, and also just being comfortable, being down and then getting it back, one possession at a time.
And I'll just say in the third quarter, even in the second half, they really got it going from three-point range. Is there something that they were doing that you guys weren't, or you weren't ready to contest the shooters? But it seemed like they picked up the pace of play even to start the third quarter.
Well, I think in the first half they kind of was a little rattled by us, trapping on Kayla Gibbs. Second half they did a good job by adjusting. They isolated one side, made it harder for us to go out and trap. It was a longer run. And I just think that it's good on them. They adjusted to what we did in the first half.
All right, Antonio, thank you so much. Antonio Smith, assistant coach for St. Peter's. Good luck at UMass.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
All right.
Always tough for the assistant coaches to come over and try to dissect something right after the game when there has to be massive disappointment. But at the same time, you're still you've got a team that's scoring more points this season, but the lack of scoring, 24 in the second half, that is reminiscent of a season ago.
And 7 points in the fourth quarter, just 3 of 15 from the field. The offense out of sorts. Yeah, you want to give Lowell some credit for that, but the Peacocks have some veteran players on the floor. They've had a deeper bench than in recent years, but seemed to be a lack of flow, a lack of communication as the game ended when the money was on the line. So 2 games in a row, there's really no other way to say it, that these are 2 games, when you look at the schedule before the season, the way the Peacocks have been playing, the victory over Delaware, and then obviously you're stepping up in competition against St. Joe's. There are a lot of reasons to be positive. Then you lose to UMass Lowell at home and St. Francis. So no other way to say it, but those are disappointing losses. Again, this is all working towards the conference part of the season. So you have to learn from these situations and get better. But some of these things, there's no way to simulate them in practice. You got to go out in the game and execute during winning time.
All right, St. Peter's, they've now dropped 3 in a row, 2 consecutive at home to drop to 3-5. UMass Lowell, they improved to 3-6, their first win in the road. And they had lost their previous 5. Led today by Kayla Gibbs, and you heard Antonia Smith to describe the defensive effort against Gibbs, trying to double down, and how UMass Lowell was able to adjust. 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists for the senior from Teaneck, New Jersey. Brianna Rudolph, 14 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist for her. Paolo Lopez hit double digits, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for the freshman from Spain. Then it was Megan Hendrick with 8. Oda Shackelford had 6. Jennifer Loro, 5. Linda Sven, 3. And Power Cassidy, that's Surshot Power Cassidy, she had 3 as well. For St. Peter's, Zoe Parrow led the way with 13 points on 5 of 12 shooting. She also had 12 rebounds for the Peacocks. Deja Martin with 10. Davion Magazine, 9, half a dozen each for Sammy Lochter, Taylor Hughes, Alyssa Vellis, and Sajana Bethea. Bethea remains 2 points shy of 1,000 for career. The disappointing part there, it is meaningful. She's not going to be able to do it at home. You would expect her to get a 2-point shot somewhere along the line on the road at UMass. Samantha Meyer off the bench with 4 points. So that'll do it for us here from the Anatelli Center. For Chris Radicke, I'm Glenn Crooks. Again, the final score here in Jersey City, UMass Lowell 66 and St. Peter's University 60 on YouTube and the PeacocksNetwork.com.